welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite 2021 NFL breakouts, and that's going to be people who maybe have had a pretty good 2020 season last year, but can really hit their ceiling and potential in 2021. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so this first guy I have on here is 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. He was the 25th pick in the first round of the 2020 draft. He came in the NFL 6 foot 205, and he was profiled as a creative, crafty runner in the open field who excels with field vision and explosive speed. He's amazing after the catch with the power to break tackles and the speed to leave tacklers in the dust. I think that profile for him is really right on the spot. In 2020, you saw a lot of plays where Brandon Aiyuk would make someone miss and get a big chunk of yardage. But he finished the 2020 season with 60 receptions, 748 receiving yards, and 5 receiving TDs, despite playing most of his season with CJ Beathard and or Nick Mullins. So he had a pretty good year with some pretty terrible quarterbacks, and that usually is the recipe for a solid wide receiver. And in that season, he only played 12 games, and 71% of his catches went for first downs, and that is just an unbelievable percentage there for Brandon Aiyuk. We're clearly going to him on third downs. Those are guys that you trust, and in 2021, the sky is going to be the limit for Brandon Aiyuk. It's going to be his second season. I really think he's going to break out because hopefully Trey Lance will be behind center for the 49ers. And consistent QB play and just a fully healthy team should lead to more and more yardage and receptions for Brandon Aiyuk. I really think he's going to be the number one receiver for the 49ers going into this year. Deebo Samuel is a really good option for I think he's more of a run after the catch guy as well, but he's more of a running back. I've never really seen Deebo Samuel, run a crisp like post or anything like that and break somebody off. So I think Aiyuk has a real opportunity in 2021. Next guy up is DAndre Swift, running back from the Detroit Lions. He is 5'9", 215 pounds, coming out of Georgia. He was selected in the second round with pick 35 by the Detroit Lions. Swift is short but strong, capable of playing on all three downs. He's definitely a capable pass catcher who had 46 receptions in 2020, but rarely does he dance in the backfield, and instead he usually runs with pretty good decisiveness and determination, and I think that was displayed in his first year as well. Swift's slightly slim build and aggressive style has opened him up to injuries, though, and that is something that immediately came to fruition in 2020. He did sit out a few games with injuries, but in 2020 he did join a crowded backfield with Adrian Peterson and Kerryon Johnson, and didn't really get a chance to take on a full workload. But still, he totaled 114 carries for 521 yards and 8 touchdowns to go with 46 receptions, 357 yards, and 2 touchdowns through the air. Now, the real reason DAndre Swift should break out this season is because he's without AP, he's without Kerryon Johnson. It's just him and Jamal Williams in the backfield. And even if they do, a 60-40 split, Swift should see a big uptick in receptions and targets and really in carries. 114 carries is not a lot, and the fact that he only turned that to 521 yards is a bit alarming, but I do believe in DAndre Swift's talent, so I think he's going to be able to have a pretty good 2021 considering he's really the only true offensive weapon that's on the team. It's him, Jared Goff, and then a bunch of number 2, number 3 receivers. So the volume should be heavy for DAndre Swift, which is really why he should break out in 2021. This next player that I'm going to be talking about that should break out in 2021 is really somebody who's probably flying under your radar if you're not a NFL enthusiast, and his name is Adam Troutman. He was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the third round with the 105th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. And he was a first-team Associated Press FCS All-American and the Pioneer League Offensive Player of the Year after he had 70 receptions for 916 yards and 14 touchdowns in just 11 starts. Now that is huge production from the tight end position. There's not guys in Division One putting up numbers anywhere near that, and there was little production out of him in 2020, but that's mainly because he was behind veteran Jared Cook, so he couldn't really crack the field in 2020. But Adam Troutman is extremely talented, and like I said, as a rookie, he did have 15 receptions, but that was only on 16 targets for 171 yards and a touchdown. So catching 15 of your 16 targets is definitely impressive. And you've got Michael Thomas, who is going to be out at least 4 to 6 weeks to start the season. So Adam Trotman could even turn into the number one option for the Saints. That's unlikely considering they will probably target Alvin Kamara quite a bit out of the backfield. But this third round pick in 2020 should have a big 2021 season. Like I said, in the 2020 draft class, out of all the tight ends, he had the most receptions, yards, and touchdowns out of the whole class. So look out for Adam Troutman to have a big 2021. Clyde EdwardsHelaire is going to be the next guy I'm going to be talking about, and he should have a huge 2021 season after having a fairly productive 2020. They drafted him 32nd right after winning their Super Bowl. Again, they got Clyde as well right after he won the national championship. So he's a winner joining a winning team. He played alongside one of the best offenses in college history with Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers. And he comes from a pro offense with a full route tree out of the backfield. That was something they said when he was coming out of college, and he's more quick than fast, but can still get enough top speed to make big plays. And you saw that in 2020 where Clyde was getting caught by all kinds of defenders. He's not going to outrun anybody. He's just like the report said, quick more than fast. And in 2020, he finished with 181 carries for 803 yards and 36 receptions for 297 yards and a touchdown through the air. Clyde was given goal line carries to start the season, but he really was not turning them into touchdowns. I want to say he was 1 for 7 within the five converting touchdowns. So not a good ratio there, and that's why the Chiefs went out and drafted or didn't draft. They signed Le'Veon Bell late in the year last year, and it kind of hindered the ceiling that Clyde Edwards-Helaire could have. But now in 2021, he should really break out. He plays in a top five offense. He's all alone back there with Darrell Williams, who can see some work. He's a quality back, but even if it's a split, those are high value touches. And if Clyde Edwards can convert more than often like he did in the second half of the year, I think he's going to have a big 2021. And the touchdown potential for Clyde is just so through the roof because he plays for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. They're going to score all kinds of touchdowns. And if Clyde can just get a small piece of that pie in 2021, he's going to have a true breakout year. As we continue to dig deeper with these 2021 breakouts, this is another guy not too many people will know if you're not an active NFL fan. So this is Darnell Mooney of the Chicago Bears. He was drafted in the fifth round last year, and he came in with blazing speed, running a 4.38 and being an explosive yards after catch player who can take screens and dump offs and turn them into chunk plays. And he has good speed and explosiveness throughout his routes. And in 2020, he played with just absolutely horrendous quarterback play, but still finished with 61 receptions, 631 yards, and 4 touchdowns. If you do any research on Darnell Mooney, you're going to see that in 2020, he was open down the field so many times. And, Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles, whoever was playing quarterback for the Bears, would just fail to hit him. So Darnell Mooney has huge upside going into year two. He's the clear cut wide receiver two on his team, and he finished second in receptions and receiving yards. That's in 2021, the Bears do have some upcoming receivers receiving targets, I should say, in Cole Kmet, who should be, better in his second year as well as Jimmy Graham, who just doesn't seem to go away. So, but I'd see Darnell Mooney as that second option for the Bears, and even if he doesn't get a lot of volume, he should make some huge, huge plays down the field. There's a famous clip of him actually from last season where he's going up against Jalen Ramsey and he breaks him off in his route, and Jalen Ramsey is just nowhere to be found. So look out for Darnell Mooney in 2021. He gets open, and I think hopefully Justin Fields will be the one finding him down the field. All right, let's get right into one of my favorite prospects from the 2020 season, and that is T. Higgins, wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals. He came in with a huge frame at 6'4", coming from Clemson, where he was quarterback Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. And he was drafted in the second round last year. Like I said, he has a 6'4", 215-pound frame, which is more than enough for the NFL. And that's a lot for a corner to try and handle. He usually will win those 50-50 balls, and he has ball skills for days with excellent vision, body control, and strong hands. In his college career, he finished with 25 touchdowns in his final two seasons. And in 2020, he had 67 receptions on 108 targets, six touchdowns, and 908 yards. So whenever you can turn, 67 catches into 908 yards, I think that's pretty good production there. 108 targets is really good for your rookie season, and that's only going to go up having AJ Green out of that lineup. I know they bring in Jamar Chase, but I think T. Higgins is really going to break out in this second year. I think over 1,000 yards is well in the realm of possibilities. I think him and Jamar Chase could possibly get there. And that's mainly because the Bengals have a terrible defense, so they should be on offense quite a bit. And Joe Burrow is going to be in his second year. I think he's going to be really slinging touchdowns out there with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, not to mention Tyler Boyd. They have all kinds of offensive weapons, and you can't really dial in on just one. So I am all in on T. Higgins in 2021. This next guy up is pretty much a given breakout in 2021. He is one of my favorite picks in fantasy. He's going in the seventh round right now. And I think the upside is just unbelievable because Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos is already a top 10 route runner in the NFL. And he was drafted with the 15th overall pick in last year's draft. Came out with the profile of having an elite route running tree with top tier explosiveness, balance, agility, and body control. He has ankle breaking burst in and out of his breaks and downfield speed to break through defenses vertically as a route runner. But also brings yards after catch ability. And in 2021, he dealt with a less than average quarterback situation, with the Broncos eventually playing a wide receiver at quarterback. Denver should be in a much better situation quarterback wise this year, having going in with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock competing for that starting position. He finished the 2020 season with 52 receptions for 856 yards and three touchdowns. But the downside to Judy's 2020 was that he was dropping passes. So he came in with eight drops, but I think drops is it's not really a sticky stat. It's kind of mental for wide receivers, and in order to drop the ball, you do have to get open. So that's really not anything I'm concerned about. I think Jerry Jeudy has good enough hands, and the talent is clearly there. Like I said, he came in the top 10 route runner in the NFL, and when you watch these clips from training camp, he is just blowing by corners. And I think if Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback for the Broncos, that's going to be really good for Jerry Jeudy, just because he'll have a lot of run after catch opportunities. The only problem is I don't think Teddy is going to chuck the ball too deep. So he didn't play with his wide receiver one last year either in Cortland Sutton, and I think having Cortland Sutton back is only going to open things up for the entire offense in Jerry Jeudy. And a 17.1 drop rate last season, like I said, is it's not good, but I am looking for Jeudy to break out just based off of the peripherals. I think he's like I said, the talent is there. He gets open. He just needs someone to find him when he gets open. I think Jerry Jeudy is in store for a huge 2021 season. I can't think that T. Higgins is going to have a breakout 2021 season without bringing up his teammate, Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is set up to have a really good 2021 season. They improved the offensive line as well as drafted his favorite wide receiver, Jamar Chase. Burrow, as everyone knows, was selected first overall in last year's draft, and he conducted one of the most explosive offenses in college football history. His leadership qualities and unreal accuracy in college led him to being the first pick. In his first season with the Bengals, he found out quickly that his team was one of the worst. Burrow was sacked and hurried every snap coming to him in 2020, which eventually led to a season ending injury where he had pretty much total knee reconstruction surgery. His ACL, MCL, everything was out. So in 2021, he should have a much better season with a much better O line and great offense at skill positions. You've got Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. You've got T. Higgins. They should have no problem moving the ball. It's just that their defense is terrible, which is why I'm even more in on T. Higgins and Joe Burrow in 2021. I think the Bengals are poised to have a great offensive season. This next guy I'm talking about is someone I'm really rooting for in the 2021 season. I hope that Jalen Hurts can find success and break out truly as, maybe even a top 10 quarterback. But Jalen Hurts was selected in the second round in last year's draft and was thrown right into the starting role his rookie season. After teammate Carson Wentz seemingly forgot how to play football, they had to give Hurts a chance. In the 5 games he was the starter, the Eagles went 1-4, but Hurts threw for over 300 yards twice, and had a 100-yard rushing game. This past season, the Eagles quite literally had zero weapons and weren't trying to win games. With a healthier O line and more weapons, Hurts is trending in the right direction for 2021. He has much improved offensive weapons going into the season, which is why I'm more in on Jalen Hurts. He'll have Miles Sanders as well as Travis Fulgham, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Reagor. I think the real added weapon here is Devontae Smith. If you believe in the talent and he's the real difference maker that he can be, which I do, because a lot of people say, he's too skinny, he's not going to be able to get off the press. I don't think any of that holds true. I think that Devontae Smith is going to be a true number one receiver, and with Jalen Reagor hopefully being healthy and improving, he might have a true receiving core going into the season. And I just really believe in Jalen Hurts. I think he is a good talent. I've seen the way he throws, the way he thinks. I think he's going to be a quarterback that Philly might have to stick with after 2021. Okay, so this next guy, I feel like I talk about all the time on the show to whoever I'm talking to, anything NFL, and that is wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. And he's my favorite breakout player this season. No one is set up to have a more productive 2021 or second year than CeeDee Lamb. He was picked 17th overall in 2020, and he's a big time playmaker who excels with a powerful, violent style. He plays much bigger than his listed 6'2, 198 pounds, and has a fantastic catch radius and uses his body to shield the ball from defenders. He's a smart and nuanced route runner who knows how to set up defenders before his route stem. You're going to see him do the work, get open. He's going to do all of his work before the ball gets there. So by the time the ball gets there, he's usually not 5 yards separation. That's a lot in the NFL, but he gets the separation that you need to get open. And CeeDee Lamb clearly has the talent and can even bump up to that number one wide receiver in Dallas in 2021. I feel like Amari Cooper has kind of been like a 1A, 1B type of guy. He's never really been a dominant receiver to take over that number one spot. When you think of a number one wide receiver in the NFL, Amari Cooper doesn't come straight to mind. But the reason CeeDee Lamb should break out this upcoming season is he excelled with Dak Prescott under center in 2020, but that only lasted for 5 short games. With Dak, he was on pace for 1,200 receiving yards. And even, who knows, he could have even been right behind Justin Jefferson. But now that Dak is going to be back in 2021 and CeeDee Lamb had a full season with Andy Dalton, I think he can really surpass that 1,200-yard mark and become this number one receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. So CeeDee Lamb is my favorite breakout player. He plays in the top 5 offense, and Cooper is actually on the PUP list as of right now, nursing a ankle foot injury. So if that continues, CeeDee Lamb's stock is only going to continue to rise. Look out for CeeDee Lamb in 2021, and thanks for watching the video.